The rest of the world, they've been sitting back watching us take control for years and years and years. And now they have thrown their hands up and said, we got to do something. We can't let these people just run wild over us. We've got to join together, educate, form, structure, and now we've got BRICS. And that's their answer to America. And as an American, it's a really conflicting thing. I'm not a financial advisor. Because on one hand, obviously I'm a patriot and I love this country and I don't want to see this country go, lose a reserve currency. It's coming. But on the other side, it's like, wow, you can't blame these people. This is the result of all your lying. This is the result of all your lying, your war hawking, your leverage over nations with money that you don't even have that's fake. That's all. It's over now. And it's time. This is going to help us transition into something. So first, I just want to get your opinion on kind of what we're seeing with BRICS. Why this is an important world shift, and kind of do you agree with me that that's kind of like on the micro in the national level we're seeing it here, but on the world that's the answer. And so, how can we really be mad at these people for wanting to rise up against the terrible leadership we've had?
Right. Well, you brought up something that is critically important and something that was happening in 2019, particularly, is the rise of populism again, right? And that rise of nationalism. And it was squelched when we know what happened in 2020. But here we go. We have that rise again. Mm-hmm. And yes, we have sorely abused for years. This is not anything new. And it was happening before we went off the gold standard. We have sorely abused our position as the world reserve currency. And we have definitely shown our hand that we will ostracize you from the global financial system if you do not do what we want. And I would like to take that piece a step further, because if you don't think that they would do that, they being central banks and governments, to their own citizens, think again. Self-censorship is already upon us, etc. So when I look at the rise of the BRICS nations, what that shows me is that huge dissatisfaction. But what it also shows me is that they have been building and creating pretty quietly, really, the new plumbing for the global financial system.
They have the new development bank. Get used to it.
Exactly.
That's the new Federal Reserve, I believe, basically.
It probably is. But if you have all of this financial power that's been concentrated in the advanced economies shifting over to the BRICS nations, and I mean, I can see that shift occurring. I'm not completely convinced that we aren't cooperating with that shift, because maybe we can negotiate softer landing.
Yeah, that is what we're seeing. I think you're correct. But it's just like everything else in life. It's layers and it's levels.
Yes.
There are levels to the government, and there are people. There are basically, from what I see, there's two big entities out there that are controlling everything right now. You've got one that's kind of on a bad side, one that seems to be doing things that aren't quite as bad, don't want quite as much privacy restrictions and things like that. Either way, it's not going to where we're all going to have all of our privacy overnight again. But the thing is that there are levels to this where there are people in the government that are working to transition this, but you also have groups of people that are working against it. So it's hard to say our government is working with BRICS, but there definitely are people inside of our government, and I know this, that are being directed certain directions that are pushing us towards that. So I think it is because we are moving to this new tokenization and digital ID world where in crypto, man, we're so dumb. Bank the unbanked. No, don't bank the unbanked. Leave them be. Like, that's what I see the issue. The whole time we were tricked into getting these people into the banking system. It's really sad. But I think that is really what's true, is that's what the overlords wanted. They wanted to bring in the remaining people that aren't in the system.
Yeah, to your point, because that way they can borrow. Right? This is a whole other class of people that can borrow, and that's how money is created in this system. Yeah. So it's to keep the game going, maybe, or just gain a lot more control. Because if we don't have a seat at the table, right? That has become my big fight, honest to goodness, is to bring the world together. We have to do this as a large community and create that really quiet and peaceful movement just by buying physical gold and silver, which is sound money and used in every single sector. This is why it's superior. Honest to goodness, at this moment in time, is because this has the broadest base of functionality: physical gold, physical silver, to your point earlier, but even beyond that, is used in every single sector of the global economy, period. So therefore, it has the broadest base of demand. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And that's what you need with it, in at least for a portion of the money. But I go back, because I got to harp on this. It must be convertible. I don't care that they say this is what's backing it. If I can't convert it in there, I have no way to keep the politicians and the central bankers' toes to the fire. They can still do anything they want. Look at it. The ZIG, Zimbabwe gold, where they were promised they would not do this currency. And on the 27th, well, you went to bed on the 26th, you had 100 ZIG in the bank. And when you woke up in the morning, guess what? You had 58 or 56 or whatever that number works out to, right? Is that okay with you?
Yeah. No, it's not okay with me. And it's the way that things have been working forever. I mean, it's just what the elites push things to. I think that we're really at a unique time in history. And if you and I aren't able to live another 100 years or so, then we may not see where all this is going. But who knows? Maybe we will. I think that the world is moving towards this age of knowing. And it's going to be, I think, in the next 100 years, quantum computing with AI is going to solve every problem that we have. It's going to basically be able to remodel everything that could have happened for events in the world and pick what most likely probably happened in certain situations. To understand quantum computing and what it can do is, combined with AI, there is no limit to what we're going to be able to do in manufacturing. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think that people are going to know all this stuff. And I think right now what you and I are doing is we are the birth of this economic movement where we're shifting away from make money and we're shifting towards educate yourself on how the system works, and that will allow you to make the money very easily every time.
Right. And part of that is really also understanding the most important value that whatever that asset is, what does that bring to the table, right? Because unless you understand, I call that the fundamental value, then you have no idea if something is undervalued, fairly valued, or overvalued. Right. Therefore, do I want to buy it? Do I want to hold it? Do I want to liquidate it? We know that, well, goodness gracious, if you've got stocks, the top stocks on average at what did they say? I think 36 times earnings, when historically fair value is 15 times earnings, it's already overvalued. If a central banker tells you we need more inflation, which is what the pivot just did, the Fed said, what they're really saying is, this is overvalued and we're going to take the value down, and all we have to do is this, and we've accomplished that, right?
That's how it goes. That's how things are shaped up today. And, people are starting to, like I said, wake up. And it's really encouraging to me to hear, people, there's a lot more people out there talking about the truth. A lot of people, they don't have a lot of the dots connected, but they know that something is up now. People are starting to realize that the lies from the politicians are much worse than they thought they were. And they're much bolder than we thought they were. They literally will just go into a spreadsheet and change a number. Like, that's what they do. They don't care, because worst case scenario, down the road, they can get it corrected. Oh, sorry, after it doesn't matter anymore what this report was 3 months ago, let's go ahead and change the numbers. And people are starting to wisen up, and there has been a shift in the winds.